board meeting. December 15th. Are there any changes, addition to the agenda? I am going to sort of put one in. I'm going to ask in the administrative report if the curriculum coordinator can go first in that, or
It's just me tonight.
huh? It's just you?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just one. It's just
Okay.
me.
I'm here as a friend.
She's just here.
Okay.
She's just here. There's no reports to go forward.
Okay.
There'll be any questions we ask before 10:07.
You were just telling me that your cutoff was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to be expected.
thank
Okay.
you, Bill.
Any changes, additions? Okay. Approve of minutes, November 24th, 2025. I will take a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Okay.
Second.
Thank you, John. Discussion. Fantastic minutes.
Good looking minutes.
Yeah, I read through them before I came and I'm like, wow. Concise.
Very.
Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 I just need to abstain because I wasn't at the meeting last month.
Okay. All opposed, say nay. Any more abstentions other than Sarah? Okay. Public participation. Public comment is not legally required, but we believe it is fruitful for us to hear from our community members about their concerns over issues. Through these meetings, our board models for our students how to conduct public discourse, and that the board and members of our community can approach controversial issues in a civil and constructive manner and can demonstrate mutual respect. Having said that, please note that the board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed for discussion. Please start by identifying yourself and what town you reside in. Any announcements?
We had our play. I was gonna say the play.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was wonderful. I saw you there.
Sorry, too.
Through the many years of education, I have been through many Christmas shows. I have to say that the Albert Bridge show was very nice and very impressive due to the fact that they have a new music teacher, only 3 weeks. And I really want to point out the fact, my excitement that the SU has a music teacher that has a jazz background. And so very excited about that, being a jazz musician myself. And it showed in his conducting, that sort of feeling.
Awesome.
Any other announcements? Okay. Policy discussions followed by motions. There will be no motions tonight. We have a whole new D23 selection of the access to instructional material. My wife always picks on me how I pronounce material because it's odd. This is just really boilerplate, and I'm confused why we need it, but it must be for.
It's recommended.
It's
not
recommended.
required. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the one, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, Bridget was doing a little digging because this is right up her alley with instructional materials.
Mhm.
We found a more robust policy on the Mountain View website. So with your permission, we might like to add some changes into next month and bring it
Sure.
back. That's okay with all of you?
Yeah.
It won't be exactly the same, but I'm taking some of their good stuff and
Yeah.
adding it
And
in.
just a note, it's access to instructional material, but both this current policy, first draft of ours, and Mountain View's is really also about instructional practices.
Yeah.
So we may just retitle it in our
Yeah.
next round, if
Yeah.
that feels okay.
Well, especially if adding some may clarify
Yeah.
what the purpose of this
Correct.
is. So,
Perfect.
yeah, perfect. Okay, D24 special educations, revised and recategorized from required D7 to recommended D24. This is a first read. And reading through this, my guess it's to, well, the only thing that I see changed, the red line, the manual can be found in Vermont Agencies of Education website. So it's basically saying you're going to use the manual. Am I reading that different, or, and we're going to follow FERPA? No, 8. That we will follow state education agency, free appropriate public education, and Individuals with Disability and Education Act. Any clarification on? It'd be interesting to if our director of special ed.
She's online.
Okay.
She's online.
And our director of special ed has any comment on this?
I do. Oh, good evening. I'm sorry. I was multitasking.
Yeah.
I do not have any comment. I'm just looking at it, unfortunately, right now. And this is a required policy, so there's really no room for discussion.
Okay. I kind of thought so.
Yeah.
Let's vote. Well, it's not. So Lori's noted revised and recategorized from required to recommended.
Where do you, let me
Right on
see.
the agenda.
Okay.
But if you have time to look at it, Jen, it'll be
Yeah.
on the document for next month. And the
Yep,
month after.
I apologize. I didn't see that was on one of the policies we were looking at. I'll take a look at right now. My recommendation would be to adopt it, regardless of whether it's recommended or required. But let me just take a closer look at it.
Well, that's the purpose of a first reading, and we can get input from everybody.
Yep.
Thank you, Jennifer. This is interesting. B21, distribution of non-school sponsored literature. In short, this makes sure that we follow the First Amendment. John?
Yeah, I question why this is being bumped to the supervisory union superintendent when it seems like it could be handled at the district level much easier and cleaner.
Well, because before your time, John, and when we redistricted Mount Scottney, we decided to make our best effort to have all policy at the SU level. But I don't think that's your question. Your question is whether or not whether this would be overseen by the superintendent as opposed to.
That seems excessive. And from my perspective, if someone wanted to come in to distribute something for a food sale at Weathersfield School, it certainly doesn't need to be bumped to the SU and the super.
Well, she emails it to me every time.
Yeah.
Jane says, can I put this in the newsletter?
Yeah.
She's so good.
And so basically, it would be the responsibility of the superintendent to create the procedure on how the principals would follow this. And so that's why it falls on the superintendent. And so that if it is the superintendent's desire to put in a procedure that includes steps for principals to contact her, or whatever that procedure is, by law, the superintendent is the one who helms that responsibility of creating a procedure and making sure the procedure is followed. And so.
Is this the first reading?
Yes.
Okay.
So there is a current policy which Lori wanted me to share with you. There are so many changes.
Yeah.
That she couldn't do, to rewrite it in red and yellow. She
Yeah, no.
would-
Yeah.
would have been the whole thing, so that's why it's not color coded. But
And I'll just point out too, I think even in this policy, 'cause I hear your point, John, under 3 on the last page, it does outline the superintendent or designee. So even at a policy level, it's identifying that they can be delegated down to the local administrative level. But no, I think that was worth coming through.
And so with this, as we move forward with this policy, as it is really a complete redo, then I think this would be a great opportunity to clarify with a clear procedure.
Yeah.
So that it, because John, I think you have a great point. For the most part, most distribution is just gonna be fairly, benign, I guess would be a way to put it. And this policy really is more to make sure that the rights, at least from my first reading, the rights of the community and students are followed without becoming interfered with. So it's kind of one of those things, and Christine probably remembers when you take your school of law for your principal license, it kind of follows, separation of church and state, which really isn't in the Constitution, but what can students do when distributing material? Jennifer. Yeah, especially, yes.
I just-
we will follow.
I'm still hung up on special ed.
Okay. I wonder why.
Okay.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, any other discussion on E21? Okay, B3, alcohol and drug-free workplace. Some minor changes, but good changes. At least I hope so. The changing of some wording, basically making the last part, in addition, an employee who violates the terms of policy will be subject to disciplinary action. Instead of specifically laying out the options, it just they will be subject to disciplinary actions.
Yeah, the other, if I can jump in, Bill.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm seeing that I think is good is and it's a small change, but a meaningful one. Changing maybe asked to maybe required. I think,
Where?
I think that's the word. It's the highlight on the last bit on page 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes, I see.
and that, I mean, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good change. And I think it's also a little slightly less prescriptive too after that, which is also good.
Any other discussion? Okay. A24. Confused me more than anyone on board and superintendent relationships. I definitely need to read this more carefully next time. Just sort of lays out how the board will work with the superintendent.
there's only one change.
But yeah, at least annually. Yeah.
It's only change.
Yeah. Okay. Any discussion, comments? Okay, moving right along to administrative report.
All right. Also pretty succinct tonight. So, I wanted to start by showcasing some great student engagement. As Bill pointed out, the ABS concert was fantastic, and I saw the afternoon show, so that I could see another show that evening at Heartland. But they've all been very well attended, and the students were engaged and so proud to show off all of the work that they've done to prepare. And it's it's nerve-wracking to be on stage when you're performing, but they all did a great job. So we've had Heartland, Albert Bridge, and Windsor K5. The 6-8 performance at Windsor was canceled due to some bad weather last week. So that's going to be rescheduled for after the break.
January 7th.
Yeah, live in January 7th. And tomorrow night at Weathersfield is their band performance. And then Friday morning at 8:15 is their holiday concert. So couldn't include pictures, but I know they'll be phenomenal as well.
Did you see Mamma Mia?
I did see Mamma Mia on Saturday, and it was fantastic. I didn't take pictures because they say not to, so I tried to follow that rule because I did get scolded by Jamie Bernstein once. I was in recording and she's like, "You can't do that." I was like, "Okay." So it was fantastic. Yeah, the kids, the young adults did a really great job, and it was well attended, and there were some great singing voices, and it was fun. And
Yes.
and your mustard. No, shoot. Right. So it was really good.
She was fun.
All around. Yeah. So it's a busy time of year, but also really exciting to see the kids perform. So in terms of culture and student and staff wellness, I just wanted to share with you, I don't think I shared at the beginning of the year, we did a staff culture survey, new this year. It's about 20 questions as I recall, and we looked at the results as an administrative team and the areas that needed work or places where we could improve. The administrators came up with some strategies. So I'm just trying to pull up and tell you what the top results were. So out of the 20-ish questions, the questions that scored the highest on the survey were reported from staff that I feel like I belong at school. That one I think scored the highest. I feel proud to be part of this school, also scored really high. I have positive supportive relationships with other staff members was one of the higher scored questions. The ones that were, they were not super low, but they were the lowest of the questions scored were, there's a sense of trust among staff at this school. And the second one was, I believe that leadership listens to and acts on staff input. And I'm confident that adults at my school can have honest and difficult conversations. So administrative team went through a little activity to try to determine some strategies that they could put into place that would address the areas of need. And so one of the things to build trust was to really promote culture building activities at school, to bring people together, to build a relationship, because you don't trust people that you don't have relationships with typically. So that's one strategy that they're working on. The second was be explicit about the decision-making process. So if you feel like you're not heard, sometimes that's a case of, okay, this is a decision that I want input. This is a decision we're going to make together. This is a decision that I'm going to make. So just being really clear about that with staff. And then the third one is use communication protocols to differentiate between listening, venting, /venting, or solving and fixing. So when staff come to administration, sometimes they just need to get something off their chest. They don't need the administrator to do anything but listen and hear them. And sometimes if you're not clear about that, it's hard to know. So the administrators, their goal is to, are you here to vent, or are you here you want to work on this together? So just being clear about those things. So we'll do the survey. We'll administer it again in the spring and see if we've made some progress. Yeah, it was good activity.
Was this in all schools?
Yeah. Yep. We did it, all staff. So support staff and teachers and everybody got the survey. As you know, we've been, really spending a lot of time on budgets right now, and Larry's been, a great asset and resource in that realm, working with the principals and boards and myself and all the players involved in the budget. So it looks like our 3 local budgets are going to exceed the excess spending threshold this year, which is the first time for, I believe, Windsor and Weathersfield. Portland has been over in the past. So Anne Marie Redmond was at a lunch and learn with the VSBA and last week, and she reported that it would be helpful to send a letter to your legislators to encourage them to really think about raising the excess spending threshold. So I crafted a letter, and boards are looking at that to send out. I know Weathersfield already talked about it. I think Heartland is in the works, and Mount Escutney, it'll be on the agenda when we come back in January. So,
Mhm.
and
Question, Anne Marie? Comment?
Not a question, but I did receive, so I did send out our letter and I received a reply from Joe Major, which was very encouraging.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I can forward it to everybody, or if you want me, well, it's kind of long, I won't read it, but he says he's going to be working on it. He shares our concern and he's going to work on it.
That's excellent news. It's good.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
sort of to clarify, how has the threshold changed from last year at this point?
It's increased a little bit. I think it goes up based on the
There's
inflation,
inflation
but-
indicators that goes up by.
so it's gone up a little bit, but with all of the drivers of the budget that are out of our control,
Right.
we're not keeping up, right?
Yeah.
So,
So if governments aren't going to deal with healthcare,
right,
then
that's one of the drivers.
yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like when this particular threshold came into place, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but my recollection is that this was sort of a stick that had to do with the budget situation 2 years ago.
It was actually in place pre-COVID,
Pre-COVID.
Okay.
and
They
then they
suspended it.
It's been
suspended
suspended,
it
right?
and brought it back.
That was when it came back though at that time. And it, I think, to your point, with the increase in healthcare costs, with, mandatory costs associated with special education, I think you outlined in your letter
Yep.
some of the other ones too, like general inflation, which
Wages.
it does track, but wages, tuition came up tonight,
Yeah.
like,
It went up,
That,
it went up from 15,926 last year to 16,470. So you're talking about $500 per equalized people.
you might say this one more time?
Yeah, I can get you the percentage increase, but it's 15,926 last year. It's 16,470.
470.
That's 16,
15, whatever that is.
15,926.
Cool.
3%.
A little, yeah,
that's,
so a little more than 3%.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, I think it's a really great letter. I appreciate you putting it together. And I think that it's just prudent that we do this. And, I send it to some other folks and encourage them to, because I think even just,
Like 4%.
yeah,
It's a little more than 4%.
I think even just in a sort of, from a branding perspective, right? If we're calling it an excess spending threshold at a state level, but it's functionally punishing districts for meeting operating costs, then it's not
right.
doing anyone any good.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, the more we send it, I think the better.
Absolutely.
We have been working at our last administrative team meeting, really brainstorming ways to promote our budgets. And so we're going to work together on that. Some good ideas have come up already. Larry's been working on a 1-page flyer for each of the districts. And that will have just talking points for people to reference as well. The principals, some of them are planning on either holding coffee talks at school or going to local coffee shops and being there to answer questions, to engage the public. With the board member, some board member, I think at Weathersfield, one board member has already signed on to go with Brian to do that. So, and then we're going to work with our communications, part-time communications director, Brooke, on a video where we're going to highlight how our budgets reflect our goals and our strategic plan. And we're going to engage students in that video. So really show where the money is going and what it's doing in our schools. So,
Anne Marie?
I'm not sure if it's the same for all, I mean, I'm sure it's slightly different for all the districts, but, I was talking to, one of the Weathersfield voters who came to me about the budget. They were concerned about the 15% increase and that that's not sustainable. And I replied to her, I had looked back over the last, since FY20. So, if you go to our FY22 budget in Weathersfield, we were at 1.95 for a tax rate. And our FY27 will be 2.29, which is a total of 17% increase over 5 years. So that's a total of 17% over 5 years. From FY20 to FY22, that's only 2 years, we had an increase of 19%. So we're actually, I mean, I know it's a lot this year, but overall, if you spread it out over the 5 years, it's really not that bad.
thanks, Anne Marie. That's a good point. Yeah.
You know, at the SU level, now that we're sort of over the hump of the merging discussion at the state level, I think it would behoove us to, as an SU, and this may be a summer thing, to have a long-term discussion about things that we might be able to do 10 years, 20 years. I think, you know, I'm not sure the legislator or the governor will, or even the AOE will start thinking about long-term plans, but as an SU, there's no reason why we can't look at long-term plans.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some buildings that are aging out. There is shifting of population. And so in 20 years, what is our SU going to look like, and what can we plan to come up and then spread those plans through communication to the different towns and get reactions and
It's a great idea. So we've, as Anne Marie, I think she mentioned, Weathersfield passed their budget last week. We've got 2 more local budget meetings after the holiday break where budgets will be presented and hopefully approved. So more to come. Nothing really new to report on Act 73, but I did want to just point out the Commission on the Future of Public Education had their final meeting this morning. Their final report will be out on Wednesday. I read the draft report, but I haven't seen the new report yet. And draft calendar, I unfortunately the timing didn't line up. I meet with the union tomorrow, so I haven't gotten their feedback yet, so I'll have to bring this back to you. But I did send out a survey, and I have the results to share with you. We talked about potentially considering late starts instead of early releases, so we sent out a survey to the community, and this is the we've received 212 responses, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
You can see there that a majority of folks prefer the end of day release. There were a lot of comments about, I don't know how I would get my kid to school at 10 o'clock. So it is, I know some districts are doing it. I think Bridget worked in a district that did late starts, monthly late starts, Rivendell. There were some positive aspects, I think. And
The difference, I think, for this, like Rivendell, it was a 1 K-12 school.
Yeah.
And for us, the idea of like Heartland coming to, you know, wherever.
a physical location.
I mean, I could see teachers going doom, and, you know, because they have to be back at their sites. Whereas when they get done with whatever they do in the afternoon, they can head home. That's the only, I just don't know how that would work for joint. I'm sure it would work fine. The advantage of both Hartford and Rivendell is they're pretty much, Queechee,
Yeah, Queechee is a little out there, but it's not
quite as,
Heartland.
Yeah.
Heartland
And
is
so, and I don't,
Back up to
I'm not
Heartland.
fully sure how they're applying those. I don't know if they're shifting them between buildings on the elementary level.
Yeah.
Or where they're meeting.
Yeah.
It might be interesting to,
Find that out.
if they're doing, building base.
Yes. Correct. Who knows?
Yeah, and we do some of that on our early release, but, like this year, our grade level teams come together.
Yeah.
So they've got, the kids are dismissed at noon, they've got lunch and about some travel time to get to their meeting by
Mhm.
12:45, and then they start. So, yeah, logistically it would be something to figure out, but
Me bringing it up last meeting, I definitely wasn't thinking it as a possibility for next year, but I do appreciate this. It really sort of clarifies.
yeah.
And hopefully everyone understood what bi-monthly meant.
Yeah. Well, we put in, I said, oh my God, then we did put, current practice. So hopefully people with the current model figured it out. But yeah, Bill pointed out bi-monthly could be every other month or twice a month. And
Yeah.
I was like, Should've sent it to you first. So, so that's where we're at with that. So we'll bring back the calendar next month for, hopefully for approval, and that's the end of the administrative report. Short and sweet tonight. I feel like we were just together.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago. We were.
Items for discussion is backup signer.
I read that backup singer.
So there is no backup signer.
Okay.
At this point, I would suggest holding off until after the elections in March and then choose a backup signer.
Okay. What are the requirements of the backup signer so we can,
My understanding is it would be if John was unavailable.
okay. Okay,
Good penmanship.
So John is the signer.
John is a
Yeah.
signer.
okay,
So not a large requirement. You have to
No.
go to the bank and get signed up to be the backup signer.
You can go to the bank via backup signer. We get your signature on file.
Yep.
If in case we ever had to do that.
John?
What brought it up was when I went over to the bank to take care of the paperwork, the bank said, well, who's the second signer? And they seemed a little bit alarmed that there wasn't one. So that's what brought it up.
Yeah, and then, well, I emailed Cindy and I said, we thought it was Nancy as a backup signer for the SU. Turns out she wasn't. It must have got confused about Scotney or whatever. And I said, Cindy, I said, so it would make sense to wait till after March at this point. She said, yeah. And, we could always, if John was ever unavailable, we could always have a special meeting before March, but
Okay.
I would just do it as part of your, how you guys do your reorganizational meetings? I would just make it part of that.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you, Larry.
Yep.
For looking into that. Yeah, proposed executive session. Do we have an executive session?
No.
Okay. Next agenda. Calendar.
Yep.
Quarterlies.
Orderly. I think
Special ed report.
special ed report.
Yep.
Is Tracy's report?
Yeah, and,
No, I mean, is Tracy's schedule?
Tracy is scheduled in February,
Okay,
but she's happy to go if you.
So date is February, so it's kind of up to you.
Date is
If it starts to feel too long, then
well, we
Tracy-
also have a lot for next.
Tracy
as
could
well.
move.
We have quarterlies
Yeah.
and we have the special ed report.
Yeah.
So
February, we've got CIA with data
Mhm.
and the DEI coordinator, diversity, equity, and inclusion report. Next month, we've got special ed on my report. So one of those two months gets three.
Yep.
Elizabeth,
Thanks. I have my camera off because I have a wobbly connection, but how do I go about bringing a policy forward? Do I just get it written up and bring it to you, or how do I?
good question.
I think you send it to Bill because
Yeah.
he approves the agenda.
Yeah.
And then he tells me and then we put it on.
Okay, so
Is it,
but I guess the question is, do I bring the notion forward to Bill, or do I bring a proposed policy to Bill?
I don't, yeah, no, you would bring the proposed policy. It wouldn't need a motion,
Notion, she said.
a notion.
Notion,
What's a notion?
like the idea of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Oh.
sorry.
You could bring either one, Elizabeth, that, you know, like anything, the more flushed out it is, the more likely that we get an idea of what it is.
Okay,
So you can do either one. If you want to throw me the notion, and then we can go back and forth, and then, I mean, I know we have 4 policies on the agenda right now, but they're all pretty lightweight policies. And so if it's something that, you know, I feel, we should look at, there's no reason why we can't start, put it on the agenda for next month.
well, I earlier this afternoon, I attended a meeting that had to do with hazing, harassment, and bullying. And the Agency of Education was there, and there were a number of other people there. Hopefully there will be a story about it. But one of the proposals, they had a list of like 6 different policies that they would like to see, they being a number of students, and like, I don't know, adults who work in this area. And one of the policies that, about, I don't know, 6 or 7 students testified in this meeting, and the predominant policy that they said they would like to see is one that requires mandated reporting of hazing, harassment, and bullying. And they had a whole bunch of different kind of tied in concepts. And I think it bears discussion at our board, even before a policy is written. That's why I'm asking.
Sure. It's an interesting concept, Elizabeth.
Yeah. I mean, it's not,
I mean,
the thing is that it's not something that could just be a policy. It would have to have really detailed and thought out implementation, because it would require an understanding by administrators and teachers and students and families of what that is, and what it would do, and so forth.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of training as well.
Well, the training in itself, I struggle with getting, in my position, getting individuals in the education field that I work with to understand that we're required to report reported bullying and harassment, not just verified. And so even if the state and the federal government requires us to report reported bullying, so if there's no finding, those still have to be part of the state reporting. And it's also has to be part of the federal civil rights reporting, but we're going to continue with that. But
Bill,
that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about making it a required reporting of someone who
Sees it.
sees it.
and yeah, and I will say that Nancy is, no, I know it's not an agenda item, John. I will say that
Well, it is an agenda item because we're talking about setting the next agenda. So
that's why I brought it up. Nancy, not Nancy Pedrick. What is the board chair's name in Hartford? Nancy Russell was also at that meeting, and she made comments about that same policy. So it could very well come to Hartford as well. But anyway, I think it bears discussion.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would bear discussion just because it would also, it might be better to incorporate it in the hazing and bullying policy instead of just making a separate policy. Or it may not, it may fit better in a separate policy. So, okay, Elizabeth, send it to me and I will let Christine know if we're tackling it next month or.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Okay, anything else on the
Just
agenda?
have Act 128 public high school choice, we have to set our numbers.
Okay, so
Is that SU? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah. Let's get those mixed up.
it's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. I think that's plenty. Okay, I will take a motion to join this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Right.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, thank you very much. Must be record setting error. Yeah.
It was